Hey guys, it's Shelby and happy Earth Month. If I haven't said that to you already, I'm sure that I have. This is my dedicated video to Earth Day, if you will, but these tips are obviously going to apply for you any part of the year. I just thought that Earth Day is a time where a lot of people start to hear more about sustainability, eco-friendly living, and all that sort of thing, and we know that that's what I am here for. So I thought I would make this video for anyone who is new on the channel, who wants to learn how to live a more sustainable life, but also for those of us who have been trying to live a sustainable lifestyle for a little bit longer. Maybe we need a refresher, or maybe you'll learn something new in today's video. We'll see. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And I'd love if you sent this to anybody who maybe is in the spirit of sustainability or eco-friendly living, whatever way they want to do that because of Earth Day. If you know someone who maybe Earth Day is going to nudge them in the right direction, send them this video and maybe they'll learn something new. And if you're here because someone sent it to you, welcome. These are all going to be quite tangible tips that you can probably get started on today. So without further ado, let's hop into it. First of all, something that I think can be really helpful to this lifestyle is going to take the thought or the process out of getting something to your home that is a more sustainable option. So for instance, for Christmas, I actually gifted my aunt a subscription to Drops laundry detergent. She saw a reel I made over on Instagram and she asked me, are those pods actually really good? And I was like, what do you think I'm doing over here? Yes, they're really good. I could have gifted her just a box of laundry pods, right? But in my experience with my friends and my family, she likely would have used them up and then went back to doing what she was already using. Just because it's the habit, what you're already used to. But what's really convenient about subscribing to the more sustainable option is you can figure out how often you would normally go through laundry detergent pods, right? We all wash our clothes on a pretty regular basis. And by subscribing to Drops, she doesn't have to think about it anymore. If you haven't seen my laundry routine, I'll link it up here. I do use Drops for my laundry detergent because they come shipped directly to your door, like I said, completely plastic free and carbon neutral. I also use their dishwasher pod, so it's a 2-in-1 and I couldn't be happier with the service. So the tip here is to subscribe to these sort of things. Maybe it's your laundry detergent, or maybe it's your dish soap. We also subscribe to our dish soap. Maybe it's your toilet paper. We also subscribe to our toilet paper. All of these things make sure that the things that you need are easily available to you, and they all ship carbon neutral, the ones that I use anyway, so that you don't have to run to the store and support a giant conglomerate brand that you don't want to be giving your money to. So if you want to check out Drops specifically, I'll leave them linked below. Like I said, I have a discount code with them. I believe it's 25% off. But let me know what you subscribe to or what you could subscribe to that would make it easier for you to choose the more sustainable option. The second thing I think you can do starting this Earth Day to help you live more sustainably is to consciously choose a sustainable brand when it comes time to replace something, or when you have thought through a purchase and decided that you need it. I've talked about so many sustainable brands on this channel over the years. I'll link one video right here where I rank sustainable brands. That could be really helpful, but I think it's really important that when you decide you need something new, you think through that purchase and try to find a sustainable brand. For instance, a brand like Pila. This is my phone and my compostable phone case. Almost everyone needs a phone case. It's probably more unsustainable not to have a phone case and then to risk dropping this and having to get it repaired or replaced more often, right? So Pila is a brand that makes phone cases that are compostable, because what's actually crazy is the average smartphone is only used for 2 years, which is mind-blowing. But obviously a plastic case lasts for hundreds of years on this planet. Personally, since I have been using a Pila case, I have not broken my phone. And I say this all the time, before I switched to Pila, I actually had a life-proof case, which I dropped and my phone split in half. Like, I don't know how to describe it to you other than this part that is the front face came off with a life-proof case on my phone. So I couldn't love the brand Pila more. These are compostable. I actually do have a custom case that I made with them. It's only available on Earth Hero. But if you are in the market for a new sustainable phone case, I think Pila is the absolute best one on the market. And I do have a discount code with them as well. I'll leave it linked below. I think it's 15% off. But they have so many cute designs now, which makes me excited because more people who are everyday people would be more interested in these phone cases because they're cute, with the added benefit of them not being on the planet forever. The idea here is to start thinking through your purchases and supporting sustainable brands when you decide you need to. This next tip is to have enough. And I'm going to be talking about items throughout this video, but what I want you to understand is the actual act of doing the thing. It's more about the habit than the actual product. For this one specifically, it is to have enough. Two things in my home that I have purchased until I decided, okay, we have enough to not have to worry or want single-use items are stasher bags to replace single-use plastic bags, and dishcloths or microfiber towels or reusable cloths. When you have enough of those two items, you don't miss the single-use version, right? So while you have a stasher bag in the dishwasher and you don't have another one to put whatever you need to put in right at that moment in, it is frustrating to not have a bag of 100 single-use baggies to just go and grab from. But once I had enough, I never had to worry about that. There are always a couple in the drawer for when I need them. Same thing with reusable towels. If you have a paper towel like spinny thing in your kitchen, it's a lot easier to just walk over there, rip one off and use it. Once you get the hang of this and you have enough, it's never a pain point to just take one out of its container, use it and throw it in the laundry. Then you're never yearning for single-use products like that. So the whole idea here is to have enough of whatever the reusable version of the single-use version is so that you never feel that pain point. My next tip is to compost. An enormous amount of food goes to landfill, and composting is not only better for the planet in terms of methane emissions that come from food rotting in landfills, but also in terms of giving nutrients back to our soils who desperately need it. We cannot continue to extract nutrients from the soil and then throw it in the landfill and think that eventually we're not going to have a serious nutrient problem. We kind of already do. And I know that so many people live in apartments, which makes it seem really difficult to compost. When I lived in an apartment in college, I used to take my food scraps to my community garden. Well, it was run by the university. But checking with a local community garden is a great place to start. You can also look for different services in your area. We have free curbside composting, but also there's a service in San Antonio for people who live in apartments and stuff like that called Compost in Queens, and they will come and pick it up. It's a very simple service. See if something like that is in your area. Maybe a neighbor of yours composts and you can take it to them. There are so many ways to avoid sending food scraps to landfill, and I highly encourage anyone, if this is the first step that can get you really interested in sustainability, it's one of the best things you can do as an individual. I shouldn't say that, but it is a really good thing to do as an individual to help stop food from going to landfill, because eventually the cycle will be so thrown off, we won't have enough nutrients to have nutritious soil. So please start composting. Aside from composting, you can choose Imperfect Foods. Now, I use a service called Imperfect Foods. Again, I have a discount code. I'll link it below. You can use the service Imperfect Foods, who is kind of the middleman now for helping collect all of the foods that wouldn't otherwise be sold and selling it to consumers like you and me so that it doesn't go to the landfill. But you can also choose Imperfect Foods at your grocery stores. The wonky looking potato or the single banana on its own often are the things that sit and sit and sit until they get thrown away. So by making a small mindset shift in how you grocery shop can make a big difference, again, in the food that's going to landfill and not going back to make our soils more nutrient. One of the tips I talk about all the time to my friends and family that think it's gross is to wash less. You don't need to wash a dress every time you wear it. Same thing with your hair. You don't need to wash your hair every day. Been trying to get my sister out of that habit for years. But it's actually better for our clothes and the planet if we use less water and less soaps and less energy to do all of those things. It's also better for our hair and our clothing. And on that note, use less. A lot of people use way too much toothpaste when you only need like the tiniest amount. And same thing for shampoo. A lot of people use way too much and it could last longer, save you money, use less resources. It's just overall better. So small tip, but helpful. And never forget that the 3 R's are in the order that they're in for a reason. The most sustainable thing you can do is reduce and or not buy anything at all, not take any freebies at all. Reduce, then reuse. So something that you had to buy, maybe a peanut butter jar or something like that, always try to find a way to reuse or choose reusables, right? This comes back to reusable coffee cups, reusable water bottles, all those sort of things. But reusing is really, really important. And I've been known to be one to hold on to things, hoping to reuse them, becoming a little bit of a hoarder with the things in my garage. But I've reused a ton of things around the house, like twist ties to help fix the chicken coop, food scraps to make new recipes, and to make DIYs around the home, all kinds of ways to reuse. Never give up on reusing. Make that always a habit and something that you keep in the back of your mind. And speaking of food scraps, growing your own food is so rewarding. It can be difficult. Honestly, I'm not the best at it. But it's also better for the planet to grow our own food. If we could all grow our own food, the planet would be in a much better place, because trying to make food to feed the population has become efficient, which usually equals bad for the planet. So growing your own food in whatever capacity, you can start small and maybe someday you can do more, but it's really rewarding, like I said, and also better for the planet. The garden that grows indoors, I've been getting a lot of questions about it lately. It is expensive, but over time, it grows so much food in such a small amount of space, it's going to save me money. And it's just so much fun and, like I said, rewarding to watch it grow. But the tip here is grow your own food. At least start somewhere. Also, make things from scratch more often. I'm sure if you've been watching this channel, you know I am not a DIY queen. I don't make everything myself. I buy things in packaging. I am not perfect. I use the word zero waste because it's how people identify my lifestyle, not because I actually create zero waste. Point being, I don't make everything from scratch. That's not the kind of sustainability advocate I am, and if it's not you either, that's okay. But giving a try to making things yourself can be fun and save packaging and save money. So I know a lot of people got into making their own bread at the beginning of quarantine last year. I honestly can't believe it's been that long. But making other things like your own salad dressings instead of buying them in packaging, again, cheaper. Making things like your own sauces and your own soda and your own seitan. We've been doing all of these things the last couple weeks, and it's been really rewarding and saving money and packaging. But I also want you to get into the process of thinking of packaging is not the only way to reduce your footprint on the environment. Thinking about the overall impact of a product instead of just the packaging is incredibly important. We know animal-based foods have a huge impact on our planet in terms of resources, and if you can go to the counter and get it package-free, that doesn't make it sustainable. Sometimes there are chocolates you can get package-free in your bulk bins, but maybe they're made in completely unethical and unsustainable ways. That doesn't make it a sustainable product. So thinking about the overall footprint is really, really important. Supporting regenerative agriculture or places that are doing different sort of conservation in their farming is more sustainable than only thinking about package free. Give some thought to that as well. Make that a habit. And since I mentioned food, incorporate more plant-based proteins into your life. Plants into your life in general. Talking about food on the internet is such a delicate topic because I get the half of people who say I should talk about it more because it's really important, and the other half of people who say don't tell me how to eat da 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 da. At the end of the day, educate yourself and then make changes accordingly. That's all I'm gonna say. Next up is divest in big banks. Stop giving your money to people who are funding the biggest parts of climate change. I made a video about that recently, so I'll link it right here. I won't spend too much time on it. Go watch that and then decide if you want to continue keeping your money where you keep it. Never stop learning with content. Videos like this, Instagram, TikTok has been really informative lately, but books, podcasts, documentaries, all those sort of things. Always get in the habit of staying up to date with what the newest science is and all that sort of stuff. But learning is something we should never forget to do, and be open to changing our opinions is incredibly important, especially in the sustainability movement, human rights, and all that sort of stuff. Being open to having your mind changed is important for human growth overall. And if you're new to a sustainable lifestyle, make sure you know what is and is not recyclable in your curbside or what's available to you in drop-off. So recently I had my friend help me take my thin plastic recycling over to the grocery store where they have those little receptacles at the front. She's been a subscriber of mine for years and had no idea that existed. So if you're someone like that and you don't know of all these different resources, there are also different drop-off resources for recycling electronics, recycling certain other sorts of packaging that isn't accepted in your curbside. So being knowledgeable about what you have access to recycle and what isn't recyclable so that you don't ruin the recycling process by putting things in there that isn't, it's important to know that. So make sure you're informed on that. Writing to your legislators and to businesses are two things that you can do as an individual that can have a huge impact. And I know people keep saying it and it's hard to really grasp what that means or what you can do. So I actually did finally make a guide on my website as to how you can write to those people or call them. I think if you take maybe just an hour every month to think through what you can do, what you'd like to ask for or what you'd like to see change in, and take that hour once a month to make that change. Recently, I did some digging and found out that there is actually a bill proposed in Texas for a free market solution to pick picking up pollution. It's really interesting. I'm excited to see how it moves throughout the process, but it's something I was really quick to contact my representative about and tell him I want to see him support this. So if you're really passionate about the planet, and I know this isn't for everyone because not everyone wants to be an activist, but if you want to take the time to do so, you can have a really big change. Another example I keep talking about is that I asked Native for literally years if they could create a plastic-free version of deodorant. And not that I'm saying that I am the reason that they did that, but I have a feeling that my constant hounding from me and from all of you are the reasons that they changed. Definitely writing to businesses and to your legislators can have a really big impact, and I think it's something that we should think more about. And finally, community. Community has become so important to me, even though I'm an incredibly introverted person, and it's been really hard for me to get involved in local groups and local cleanups, and serving on an advisory board to our reuse craft store, something that I've done this year that I'm very excited about. I'm also part of my chicken group here in San Antonio, and I'm also part of a no-buy group here in San Antonio. When the Texas winter storm was happening, I was able to go bring food to someone who needed it. Facebook groups are a great place to start, and I definitely just recommend getting more involved in your community. Not only is it really helpful, but it's also quite rewarding to realize that you're not in it alone. I hope these tips will help you this Earth Day and beyond. I'm going to have all the things I talked about linked below that could be helpful. So thank you so much for watching, and remember, until next time, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Bye guys.